right, so I kind of wanted to document the process that I go through in order to try to preserve the pumpkins. So this is a Hubbard squash, so it's a little different than a pumpkin, but the process of it's the same nonetheless. I carved this about a week ago, all right, and the first half of that week it was being kept. The overnight hours I had it just soaking in water, and then I've had it in like a 5 gallon bucket with a plastic bag in the overnight hours when it wasn't on display. But what happens is that over time the vinegar will cause the coloring of it to just get pale, bleach out almost. And the deeper the carving, like so areas like his tongue or his eyes, areas that are carved deeper into the natural shape of the thing, will stay darker, richer in color longer. Even though the vinegar is on equal contact with everything at all times, the deeper the material, the darker it'll stay. So these, even though this was like green here a few days ago, and it's starting to lose that color. But this will turn white, and then he'll have still a rich colored tongue at the end. All right. So essentially, if you're gonna pickle them or preserve them in vinegar, you want to you don't want to let it dry out. But if it's not going to be put on display, I suppose you could you could throw it right into a vinegar display right away. So I use white vinegar. You can cut it with a little bit of water, and just submerge it in there. In the beginning, sometimes the vinegar will get discolored and turn like a yellowy tea color. So you'll have to either have a drain in the tank somehow to take that out and replace it, or just siphon some out and replace it. The vinegar, if it's not totally sealed, will develop a mother. It's kind of like it's like a gelatinous yeast that grows in it. So if you don't have an airtight tank, or if you're doing a smaller carving, a jar, or whatever it is that you're gonna pickle the carving in, if you don't have that, that stuff will begin to grow. Sometimes it looks cool, but usually often you just it'll continue to grow and drop from the top and fall on your sculpture. But anyway, but I usually don't seal them totally until they've finished just leaching out, or until the vinegar is able to stay clear on its own. I usually just like tape up the top or something like that, and sometimes I have to like get rid of the initial vinegar. But after about maybe 3 months, you could transfer it into a more permanent sealed. You could, if it's in the same tank, just seal the top, knowing that after about 4 months you shouldn't have to mess with it again. At least maybe not like I don't know, like I've had some. This one here is pretty clear, and that one's been in that vinegar for about a year now. Okay, so he kind of like soaked in vinegar for a couple months, and then I placed him in there and sealed it. So that's how you do. That's it's just white vinegar. Like I said, you can cut it with a little bit of water, maybe 20%, 30%, or leave it full vinegar. All right, so this is a Hubbard squash, and you can see how we do the eyes. It's just a piece of the squash that's sticking out further. So from the right angle, they look like highlights. And he's been soaking, so when I took him out right now, it's just kind of neat because it's all kind of just dribbling out of his mouth. So because I only carved them a week ago, I could still touch all this. If you end up pickling a carving and you have to remove it from the tank, like a pumpkin is not as dense of a material, so it'll likely after months of pickling be so soft that you don't want to disturb it at all. But something like a Hubbard squash, I could probably pull this, if I needed to pull this out of the tank carefully a year from now, I could probably do so, because I know when I carve this is a pretty thick one, so it's pretty solid. But you just got to, once you take it out of the buoyancy of the liquid, this area here that's carved is going to be so much more just compromised through the vinegar, so you got to be really careful. But anyway, I just wanted to get some video showing the change in color, because the next video I take, maybe in a few weeks, there might not be any of this yellow left. So I wanted to document it. Thanks for checking it out.